Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are testing the eyelash curler stencil hack to create the finished look you see there on my right eye using the Natasha Denona Glam palette and the Wayne Goss Pearl palette and of course an eyelash curler. This one is by Tweezerman from Target. And the all-stars of the show for small hooded eyes like mine are going to be small eyeshadow brushes. That's going to be the key here. So first I'm going to go in with a primer. This is the Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer. And you want to make sure that you are extending this out past the edge of the eye towards the tail of the eyebrow where we're going to be having that sort of faux wing effect, and you're going to really want the prime. Then we're going to take this transition shade from the Glam palette. This is the only time in this tutorial you're going to see me using a brush this large. It's literally half the size of my eyelid, but I just want this base color down all over the eye for blending purposes to help put other colors on top of. So now you can see where the natural curve of my sort of deep set eye is. And the purpose of the stencil hack is to sort of redraw that curve for hooded eyes up more onto the brow bone. So kind of the path you see me tracing here with that handle. So you have a little bit of a lifted effect from where your crease naturally is to where you are placing it. So you're going to start by putting the corner of that eyelash curler in the corner of your eye and then use it as a stencil to put a line where you want that crease to be. So there you see it's lifted by probably a solid 1/4 of an inch or so. So we're going to blend that out obviously with what's left on the brush that I used to apply it. And you can always go in with a slightly larger brush to feather it out even more if you need to. So once you're satisfied with how that's blended out and it's looking how you want it to, pick up your eyelash curler again, and this time you're going to use the handle of it to trace up from the outer corner of your eye to the tail of your eyebrow. So going in with that same color, this is also from the Natasha Denona Glam palette, and using that same small brush, you're just going to draw a line just like that. And then you're going to go in and sort of fill it in down at the corner of your eyelid because you don't want it cutting too much into your eye. You want it to be connecting at that outer corner. And then you're just going to kind of drag it in and blur it out the same way you would if you were doing a winged eyeliner with the liquid liner. You're going to be dragging this down onto the lash line, probably about 1/3 of the way across the brow. And then as previously mentioned, part of the key to this look is tiny brushes. So what I have here is a really small detail brush that I'm using to help me blend out the sharpness of that line that we applied, but also to really pack that color down into that corner. And to deepen it up, I'm gonna go back into the palette here and pick up that color Smoke. And now I'm just going to smoke out the color, just continuing to pack it into that corner, really making sure that I'm not gonna be leaving a bare spot on the outer corner of the eye. And it's okay if this gets a little smudged and messy at this point because we're gonna clean it up later. This is the tiniest blending brush that I own. It's very fluffy and feathery, but this is the part where I'm going to be blending this out as much as I can because I really don't want a super, super sharp line on the outside. Going back in to deepen up some of the color that I blurred out, again using that color Smoke and the tiny detail brush, making sure that's nice and dark before we go in with this inner corner color from the Natasha Denona palette. And we're packing it underneath that first line that we created and then taking my finger with a little bit more, dipping right into the palette and kind of pushing it out across the center of the lid. This is the part where we go into the Wayne Goss Pearl palette for that light color that you saw me pointing out there. And I'm using this to blend up on the brow bone. I don't like shiny colors up on the brow bone, but I didn't want too harsh of an edge on that first trace line that we created. So I was just blurring that out a little bit and taking that all the way up to the brow bone. So now I'm showing you how we're going to clean up this outer corner. So I'm going to take my Clinique eye makeup remover with a clean brush, dab it off a little bit after dipping it in, and I'm just going to swipe this in a clean line where I want it to be super sharp. And I'm going to dab any excess off with the tissue. I'm going to go up underneath it with the tissue, not only to clean up the bits that smear like you see happening here, but right here, just getting as much of that off of the skin as possible because we're going to be going in with some concealer and additional foundation in that corner of the eye. You see here what I'm pointing at is just that little bit of natural discoloration. It's like a natural shadow at the corner of the eye that you're going to get when you have deep set or hooded eyes. Anytime I do a eyeshadow look like this where I'm trying to lift and lengthen the appearance of the eye, if you leave that uncovered, it just makes this sort of droopy effect. It just makes your eyes look like they're drooping at the outer corner. Whereas if you go in and make sure you have a nice clean coverage with some concealer, not only is that going to help sharpen up this outer line like that, but you see we're losing that discoloration, that sort of blueness and that unwanted shadow in that outer corner that is going to make the eye look like it's falling downward on the outer edge. Then we're going to go over that with a light reflecting powder to set that concealer. This one is by Laura Mercier, and you can see how that light reflecting powder just sort of aids in covering up that discoloration on the outer corner. And then we're going to finish the look with some mascara. I'm going to be using the MAC Fiber mascara that I love so much. It's a really great mascara if you have short, light lashes like I do. And this is going to be the completed look. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If you give it a try with this eyelash curler stencil hack, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Click subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.